Okay, next tutorial. Today's makeup is meant to be my take on an evil demonic Grinch. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's so silly, and look at my hands. I've wanted to do a Grinch makeup for the longest time, but I was never sure I could do it justice because the original Jim Carrey makeup, I mean, come on, that is flawless and iconic and yeah. But then I heard about the new horror movie coming out about the Grinch called The Mean One, which is a much more rough and sinister kind of makeup, and I thought that's right up my alley. So I thought I'd give it a go at merging the two makeups, and here we are. Yeah, it's very silly and there's a lot of things you could do to either make it more evil or more like the Jim Carrey version, but it's completely up to you guys. There's a few subtle things you could do, like you could add lashes, you could add more fur, that kind of thing. It's just one of those makeups where you have fun with it really, and I certainly did, yay. But yeah, so if you'd like to learn how to do this makeup for yourself, stay tuned. Okie dokie, so the first thing I want to talk about is the prosthetic that we're going to be using. So I'm using foam latex because this piece is quite large. So large, in fact, that I actually separated it into two pieces because I think whenever there's a brow and like a really heavy nose piece, it's easier for me just to separate them. It moves a little bit nicer, I think. So the pieces that I'm going to be using are these. Yeah. So it's this gorgeous, gorgeous Grinch prosthetic with, of course, this fabulous Who nose. I always love working with foam latex. They've always got like really beautiful edges to blend. It's just really fun. And I actually got these prosthetics from mostlydead.com. I'll flash that link on the screen there. It'll also be in the description bar below. I'm particularly happy with this prosthetic because most Grinch prosthetics tend to be a full face, as in it goes around the eyes as well, and usually it overlaps the head, which is fine, but I really like to blend everything if I can. But I do also want to talk about one little thing I changed, which I think would apply to most Grinch prosthetics, and that is the nose area. So I'm not a massive fan of covering my nose completely. Whenever I do makeups that really do that, I tend to leave a tiny gap somewhere so I can breathe properly. It doesn't really matter because obviously you can breathe through your mouth, of course, but I am asthmatic, so it makes it a lot easier for me if obviously I can do both. So what I've done is, it's a little bit silly, but I have burrowed through the nose on the other side and gone down because obviously the Who nose is about here on my face. So I've burrowed down in the latex with a knife just to get as low down as I can to my actual nostrils, and you'll see just about there what I've done. And I've stuck two tiny little straws just in the nostrils. It does make them look a tiny bit larger, but to be honest, I would rather breathe. But yeah, plus we will be painting those quite dark anyway, so hopefully you can't see that. But yeah, so that means that I have ventilation basically. Hopefully that's okay. And to stick foam latex prosthetics down, I like to use a product called Prosthetic. It's just a really nice prosthetic adhesive. And I'm going to start by applying the brow piece. So I'm going to take a paper-based cotton bud, dip that in the Pro Stick, and then apply that just to the centre area and the brow area of the piece. I can then apply that to the corresponding area on my face, let that go a little bit tacky, and then I can press that down and then pull away some of the prosthetic and just apply some going in a circular motion until we get to the edges. We can push everything down, working middle outwards, just so there's no air bubbles and everything is nice and smooth. We'll then do exactly the same again with the nose piece, starting right in the middle, and then the corresponding area on my face. Then we'll stick that down, and then we'll start sticking things going away from the face again, so we've got no air bubbles. So there we go. So once everything is nicely stuck down, we can work on blending those edges. So to do that, I'm going to take some more Pro Stick and a new cotton bud, and I'm going to dip that in the Pro Stick, then start applying that to the edges in a rolling motion going away from the edges. We don't want to go back and forth, otherwise we might lift something up. So then, when everything is blended off, we can work on the next step, which is colouring in the foundation. So there are a few methods to doing this. You could use PAX paints, you could use alcohol activated colours, you could use watercolours or creams. I myself am going to use a mixture of a few of them just because I want to get the best results I can. So I'm going to start off by using an alcohol activated colour from Neil Gorton's Life Colour palette, because as always, whenever I use a foam latex prosthetic, I like to colour it first with a nice red, because if any skin's going to be on show, for example my chin, my eye area and around my head, I really need the prosthetic to blend in. I know, of course, ultimately everything's going to be painted green, but if I just go in with the green straight away, you will notice a difference in tone from my chin and my cheeks, for example. I'm not going to colour everything red, I'm just going to colour it sporadically all around the edges and maybe some in the middle. Okie dokie, so when you're done, it'll look something like this. Nice and sore looking. It does look very sore. So then we can go in with a nice green base. So the base that I'm going to be using is a face paint. This one is a M.A.C Pro colour in true Chartreuse. I wanted to start with a nice bright colour first so I can darken it up as I go along. So I'm just going to apply that to my entire prosthetic, my neck and my ears. So now that we have a nice green base, we can start darkening up certain areas. So I'm going to take a new alcohol activated palette. This one is the Mardi Gras palette by Illustrator, just because it has a nice selection of greens in there. And I'm going to start by taking the dark green from this palette and I'm going to apply that to the edges of my face, around my eyes and around my mouth. There we are, so as you can see the tones are starting to come together now. But now we're going to start to diverge from the friendly version and we're going to make things look a little bit more darker and a bit more sinister. So I'm going to take a spackle brush, which is just a really, really rigid kind of toothbrush-esque brush. And I'm going to dip that in the dark green colour from the Mardi Gras palette. And then I can start flicking it around the edge of my face just to make a halo effect of colour. I can then colour in my nose. So the colour that I'm going to use for that is another M.A.C Chromacake, one of the pro colours, and this one is in landscape green. I'm also going to use the same colour for the wrinkles afterwards. Just sitting there giggling. Why is this so cute? Look at the little tiny nose. So then, now that we've got this adorable nose coloured in, we can work on the folds. So as I mentioned, I'm using the same green that I used for the nose, the same face paint, and I'm going to apply that in all of these lovely folds and wrinkles, and then clean my brush off and get it a little bit damp, and then start manipulating that colour so it's not too harsh a line. We just mainly want to accentuate those gorgeous sculpture lines. Okay, so nothing too drastic, we just want to highlight those areas. So then I'm going to colour in the eye area, which is going to make everything look a lot more sinister because I'm going to be using a black face paint by Superstar. And I'm going to use that on my eyelids and underneath my eyes and then taper that colour out quite far. It's going to go quite low down here and on top here. We don't have to worry about it being too particularly smoky at this point because I'm going to go in with a darker green on top of that later. Okie dokie, but just before I do apply that dark green, I'm just going to take a M.A.C Fluid Line in Black Track, which is a black cream that's safe for the waterline of your eyes, and I'm just going to apply that on the top and bottom sets of my eye waterlines just to get rid of any hint of skin colour. I'm then going to take the same dark landscape green by M.A.C and I'm going to apply that over where I went with the black watercolour. Oh, he's not a happy looking Grinch, is he? So then, taking the same green that I used on the nose and the eyes, the nice dark landscape green, I'm going to colour in just my bottom lip. Not the top lip, because we don't want that to be that at all. We just want that nice prominent bottom lip. So then you could do quite a few more steps to this if you wanted to make it more like the Jim Carrey version, like you could add on the twisty eyebrows, which I think for me might be a bit too whimsical for this look. I think I would rather have like that bald expression there. You could also stick some fake fur to the outside of your face. I was going to do that to the point where I even bought some fake fur, but now that I look at it, I think it might cheapen the look a little bit. But you could in theory apply some spirit gum to the back of some fake fur, just like a nice strip of it, stick it down and then brush the fur towards towards the face. But again, I don't think it would add much to it, to be honest. Plus, when I add the Santa hat, it's going to cover most of this area anyway, but it's completely up to you. The character in the mean one does actually wear a green synthetic wig, but it's very shiny and it's just, I really think it would cheapen the look a little bit. I don't want to sound mean, but yeah. So for me, all I'm going to do now is paint the rest of my neck and my shoulders and chest in the green face paint that I used initially, the True Chartreuse by MAC. So I'm just going to go do that now. Then finally, for a completely optional step, I'm going to take some Kryolan black tooth enamel and a new brush. You should never use the brush that comes with these because then you're just cross-contaminating and dipping it back in and yeah. And I can dip my brush into the black tooth enamel and then apply that randomly to the bottoms of my teeth just to make them look as if they're all jagged. So there we go. Lovely. So then, all that's left for me to do is to pop in some contact lenses, pop on a costume, and we'll see what everything looks like. And there we go. That's my look, officially complete. So I finished the look off by popping on a Santa outfit and a Santa hat, which I've dirtied everything up. I popped in 2 completely yellow sclera contact lenses, and of course, some Grinch gloves, which I did make myself very quickly last night. I know they're very crude, but I hope they're okay. I think they're very fun. Jazz hands. But yeah, so that's my EVIL Grinch makeup. I'm really glad I mixed the 2 versions together. It's got a lot of fun in there. You could add eyelashes to this if you want, but then it's going very much down the whimsical Jim Carrey version, which, don't get me wrong, I bloody love. It's my favourite, but we're going for something a little bit more dark here. I do really hope you all enjoyed this makeup. I had a lot of fun doing it as always, and I can't stop staring at my hands. I want to live my life like this now. They're so fluffy. God, I had so much fun with this one. I'm definitely glad I did the nostril hole so I could vent out of here because it has affected my speech a tiny bit, but for the most part it's okay and I can breathe completely fine through it. I think it's definitely worth considering. And yeah, so that's my makeup tutorial. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did like this video, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe and all that jazz. And yeah, I hope you all have a fantastically wonderful and amazing Christmas. Until the next video, awesome possum. Bye, Fluffies!